welcome into Texans Today, everybody. I'm your host, Jeremy Chuggs, and we got a packed show on tap for you today. We got the latest rumors on offensive coordinator Bobby Slowik and 6 Texans who need to step up if the Texans want to make the AFC Championship Game for the first time in franchise history. I'll let you know all about that later on in today's show, but breaking news coming out of the NFL today. Marlon Humphrey out this Saturday against your Houston Texans. As we're taking a look at the Ravens injury report, he is out. Tylan Wallace is out. Mark Andrews, coming off IR, was a full participant today and yesterday. He is questionable. Should be able to return this Saturday, but more than likely going to be on a snap count. Devin Duvernay questionable as well. But the big news, Marlon Humphrey, the Ravens' best cornerback, out this Saturday against the Houston Texans. I mean, wow, what a report. I mean, this changes everything for this Texans offense and how they're going to attack this Ravens defense. And as we switch over to the Texans injury report, Nico Collins, you're like, oh my God, he did not practice on Thursday. Calm down. Take a deep breath. He's just out because of rest. Look, injury designation right there on the left-hand side. Just rest for Nico Collins. The only player ruled out as of now, Jerry Hughes, defensive end. Second week in a row ruled out with that ankle injury. Andrew Beck, one of the guys who's questionable to return with a back injury. And George Fant, probably the biggest for the Texans right now, questionable to return. He's dealing with an illness right now. If he's not able to go, more than likely it's going to be Charlie Heck there at right tackle for the Houston Texans. And guys, this is why you got to subscribe to the channel. You got to get there for breaking news when it happens. I'm giving you a video almost every single day here on Texans Today. I can give you even more videos if we get those sub numbers up. And hey, we're trying to get to 10K subscribers before the Ravens game this Saturday. We need 880. I know it's a tall task, but let me tell you this. I'm going to be live for that game this Saturday. And if you want to join me, if you want to watch, be able to comment, have fun with us on Saturday, you got to be subscribed. It's going to be in sub-only mode, everybody. So go down and hit that sub button or go to youtube.com/TexansTV. If you want daily Texans news and rumors, I'm telling you, give me a week. If you don't like it, you can unsubscribe. But a kid from South Houston, from Clear Lake, from H-Town, 832-281. Give me a chance. Go down and hit that sub button right now. Now, let's get into one of our top stories of today's show. Bobby Slowik. He is now a hot commodity on the coaching search. Here are my top options for Bobby Slowik after being interviewed by the Seattle Seahawks. He also did a online interview with the Carolina Panthers today. He was requested by the Seattle Seahawks. Atlanta Falcons, I have them at 5 because I really think Bill Belichick is going to end up going to the Atlanta Falcons. My top 2, though, which the Titans love them some Texans sloppy seconds. They got Mike Vrabel. Now they're after Bobby Slowik. The Titans just love the Texans sloppy seconds. So that's why they're my number 1 option for Bobby Slowik right now in teams that are interested in the Texans offensive coordinator. Number 2 would be the Washington Commanders. But now it's brought up to 5 teams that have requested an interview with Slowik to be their next head coach. He's first-year play caller in the NFL with the Houston Texans and obviously has done a fantastic job. Worked with the Niners before from 2017 to 2022. He has that Kyle Shanahan dust on him, which everybody wants. And like half the coaches, it seems, in the NFL, he was on that 2011 to 2013 Washington football team staff. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if somehow Nick Sirianni, Andy Reid, and Bill Belichick were on that 2013 Washington football staff, because it seems like every single person and their mom was on that staff. But yes, he was part of that famous group of coaches that were coaching in Washington. But I have a quick question for everybody at home. Obviously, he's doing so well so far. Bobby Slowik has been fantastic in his first year as the Texans OC. Do you think he leaves to be a head coach, or do you think he stays for another year? We saw last offseason, Lions offensive coordinator Ben Johnson had a lot of interest. He said, no, I'm going to come back for another year. I'm going to wait for the right coaching opportunity. Could Bobby Slowik go down that same route? I want to hear from you folks at home. This is going to be the pinned comment on today's video. So go down right now. Let me know. There's going to be a YouTube ad that plays. Let it roll. Answer today's pinned question. Will Bobby Slowik leave the Texans to be a head coach? I think so. The more I think about it, he's just been so good this year, and this is an offensive-driven league, and there's more coaching openings this offseason than before. I mean, the amount this offseason is really unprecedented in the NFL to have upwards of 8 head coaching openings in the NFL, and he's just been so good. Everybody wants a young, creative offensive mind, and Bobby Slowik, he fits the bill right there. So I really do think he's going to leave the Texans this offseason. Like I said, I really do think it's either going to be the Titans or the Commanders. But there is good news, Texans fans. There is good news because this young man, Bobby Slowik, he still has his eyes on the prize. He is focused on the now. He's focused on this Texans team, which is vital because, like I said, the Texans, they have never made an AFC Championship game. The closest they came was twice. I mean, whenever they lost to the Chiefs after they were up 24 points, and then 2012 against the Ravens, which they faced them in the divisional round, lost 20-13. Maybe get the monkey off your back with the Ravens team. Those were the 2 times the Texans were closest up until this point right now. And this is what Bobby Slowik had to say on all the interest he's been getting as a head coach. It's the same as last week. Very grateful for every consideration, grateful for the opportunities, grateful to D'Amico Ryans and Nick Caserio, to the Texans organization for giving me this opportunity. But right now, I couldn't tell you what's going on. I'm entirely locked in on the Baltimore Ravens. I know here pretty soon that process is going to start pretty quick, but I'm going to cross that bridge when I get to it. Right now, I'm just looking at Baltimore, and I absolutely love it. Astounding answer from Bobby Slowik. He knows that he's got suitors. He knows he's got people trying to slide into his DMs, and he's still focused on the task at hand, and that is getting the Texans to a Super Bowl for the first time in franchise history. Absolutely love the attitude from Bobby Slowik. I know he has upwards of 5 teams right now that are looking at him, possibly more as the weeks go on, as teams continue their coaching searches. But Bobby Slowik, he's taking it one step at a time. He's saying, hey, I know they're going to be there in the future, but I got to focus on the now and the opportunity I have to make it to a Super Bowl with C.J. Stroud. Now, coming up, I'm going to tell you which players I think really need to step up for your Houston Texans this week if they want to beat the number 1 seed Baltimore Ravens in Baltimore on Saturday. I'll let you know who that is right now. First player, obviously, it's my boy, C.J. Stroud. Yeah! The most electrifying wheeling dealing player in the National Football League. That is C.J. Stroud, CJ7, the quarterback for your Houston Texans. C.J. Stroud has been on a tear. One of the best rookie performances ever against the Browns in his very first playoff game. So, he needs to step up this week against the Ravens. Obviously, I didn't need to tell you that. You didn't need to click in today's video to know that C.J. Stroud has to play well for the Texans to win this game. But I wouldn't be doing my job as the Texans Today host if I didn't mention the number 1 player on our team, C.J. Stroud. And I wouldn't be doing my job as the Texans host if I didn't tell you this great deal that our friends at Fanatics have for a C.J. Stroud jersey. If you go to chatsports.com/Stroud, you can get your hands on a C.J. Stroud jersey today. You want to rep the franchise, the quarterback, the guy who's going to be leading the Texans for years to come. Go get it now. You'll be able to wear this jersey anytime throughout the next 10, 15, 20 years. He might be the best Texans quarterback in franchise history. So if you want to get your hands on a CJ7 jersey, just go to chatsports.com/Stroud and get it today with our friends over at Fanatics. Next player, and I know the comments are already going to come. Jeremy, come on, man. He's a rookie. You're way too hard on Scruggs, man. You're way too hard on the rookie, man. Out of Penn State, he started the year injured. You're just too hard on him. You're just too hard. I get it. But this is the National Football League. This isn't kindergarten. We got to step up. We got to hold these guys accountable. The time is now. This is the playoff time, baby. If I'm not saying, hey, we need more out of you, Scruggs, then what we're just settling for not our best product out there. We're settling for mediocrity. Thank you, producer Coop. Exactly the word I was looking for. Because he has a tall task at hand. Because arguably the most underrated player on the Ravens defense right now is this fellow right here, Justin Matabuke, 13 sacks on the season from the defensive tackle position. So if that tells you anything, he can get after the quarterback from the inside. So I'm looking at you, Scruggs. I'm looking at the center. I'm looking at Shaq Mason. I need all of y'all to work together to stop this man right here and keep C.J. Stroud upright, or else it's going to be a long day for this Texans offense. You really need to be able to play your best game, Scruggs. I know I've been tough on you. It's because I really do think he can be a great asset for the Texans moving forward. I think he can be the starting guard for the next 3, 4, 5 years. Maybe starting center. That's what he was drafted for out of Penn State. But we really need him to step up. And I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't say, Scruggs, you have a tall task at hand. You got to get ready this Saturday. Next guy. I mean, we heard the news about Marlon Humphrey. Nico Collins, we know he's going to show up. Who's going to be that number 2? What I saw out of John Metchie was really fantastic against the Browns. He was able to get a little bit of momentum going, get some catches, get some carries. I really like what I saw out of the rookie from Alabama, John Metchie. He played very well, and especially now with Marlon Humphrey being out, we really need to focus on these other receivers, these other targets of getting open, because with Humphrey out, you already know that they're going to be focusing on this man right here, Nico Collins. Expect the Ravens to try and double-team Nico now to make him a non-factor because they have their best corner out of this game. So what are you going to do? You're going to double-team. You're going to bracket Nico and make sure that he's not able to get the ball deep. And what does that mean? One-on-one coverage for these other guys. And I really think this could be the John Metchie breakout game that all Texans fans have been waiting for. So I'm looking at John Metchie to make an impact in this game. But I have a quick question for you. One of our great sponsors of the show is Prize Picks. So I want to ask you this question real quick. More or less than 80.5 receiving yards for Nico Collins. I just told you they're going to try to make him a non-factor in this game. They're going to try to double-team him. That does not mean Nico won't ball out this Saturday. Let me know what you think. Type M for more, type L for less. 80.5 receiving yards for Nico Collins. What do you think? Now going over to the other side of the football, Christian Harris. He has been an absolute dynamite. I mean, the first Texans player since J.J. Watt to have a sack and an interception return for a touchdown in a playoff game. Christian Harris, he did just that. And something that I found very interesting while I was kind of digging in to what the Ravens like to do, kind of scouting them as a team, statistically, the Ravens run the ball to the right side of their offensive line more than they do the left. So, Christian Harris being on that right side, that linebacker on the right, he's going to have a lot of focus on him stopping the run, which he's been doing really good at these past couple of weeks. But the Ravens, they like to run behind Kevin Zeitler, one of the best guards in the NFL, and Morgan Moses, who is a big tackle. So I'm looking at Christian Harris being able to stop the run on that side, especially because the Ravens, they like to run it in that direction. Next guy, speaking of the run, speaking of that offensive line, Sheldon Rankins, the Texans' best defensive tackle. I'm going to need him. I'm also going to need Malik Collins to step up because we saw the Texans, they played very well against the Browns. But a week prior against the Colts, Jonathan Taylor ran all over this Texans defense. So we need the defensive tackles to step up and not let any runs up the middle because they run it to the right. They also run it to the right middle as well and up the middle, up the gut. So we need these defensive tackles to be able to hold their ground and not let the Ravens run wild over them. And lastly, Derek Stingley. I mean, what a job he did this past weekend against the Cleveland Browns. And he's going to have a tough task ahead of him as well. The Ravens wide receiver room is underrated in my opinion. OBJ, a lot of people forget, when the lights shine the brightest, OBJ plays his best. Arguably against the Rams, or whenever he was playing with the Rams for their Super Bowl run, I would say he was the most impactful receiver for them in the playoffs. Would have been the Super Bowl MVP if he didn't get injured in that game, in my opinion. But good news, Texans fans. Derek Stingley has been playing his best ball of late. Aaron Wilson gave me this little nugget. Corner Derek Stingley Jr. Shadowed Amari Cooper, which I said was one of the keys to the game. I'm not taking credit, but I'm just saying I said it. On 35 of 42 routes before the Texans sent in their backup, Stingley allowed one reception for -6 yards on 3 targets as the nearest defender, including 2 tight windows. Cooper averaged a target separation of just 0.7 yards against Derek Stingley. He was like that. He was on that man like white on rice like mac on cheese, like peanut butter on jelly. Derek Stingley was there, and we need him to do the same thing this week. Don't let Lamar Jackson have any open windows to throw the ball down the field to either Zay Flowers or OBJ. You got to step up, Derek Stingley. That's the end of today's show. Those are my guys who I think need to step up if the Texans are going to win this Saturday. As always, go give me a follow on Twitter at Jeremy Chuggs for the latest Texans news and rumors. Like I said, we're trying to get to 10K. Can we do it? I believe in you, Texans fans. I've been saying this word. I've been throwing out the word belief all season long. I believe in this team. I believe in this coaching staff. And I believe in this fan base. So go down there and hit that sub button right now. And let's get crazy this Saturday.